Well, good evening to everybody, and a very warm welcome to the finals now of the Crown E League. As you can see on screen, we start tonight a run of four final races to crown a winning team over this lengthy league that we've been running. We've had the first half, the semi-finals underway. We're now into the finals, and the top five teams that qualified are LFR, NLR, IRT, TFL, and of course QRT there as well. And we're going to Hungary for the first race in the finals. And you can see in 2 weeks' time we're heading to Kota. In 3 weeks' time to Portimao, and in 4 weeks' time, set your calendar for the decider in Interlagos on the 16th of February, where we will crown officially our winning team. Well, my name is Webbo. I'm here to take you through the first of these finals, and I'm very pleased to be here and to enjoy the race with as many of you as possible. As usual on one of my streams, do let me know who you're here to support. Make it obvious if you can, and if you're a neutral, especially one of the drivers from our previous rounds, let me know if anyone is catching your eye. If you see something I'm not talking about on stream as well, please do say what you see, and help me out wherever possible. We're about to get underway, and I will get on track for you, and we will get some track action. Regular short qualifying out there as usual, and it's one of the IRT drivers. It's Leroy who's gone out first of all on track. No, it isn't. Actually, it's Helm for LFR. So forgive me on that one, Helm. But Helm is first out there, going out on the medium tyres. So looking to start the race in a good strategic option, of course. And hi to Luke Lira, who says Vamos Locos LFR, of course, here for his favourite team. My apologies if we've got any issues tonight. I have a very unusual connection difficulty today, but hopefully all will be well for you. And bear with us if it's at all an issue. Should get nice, clear view on track regardless. Had the pleasure of watching several of these drivers. Oh dear, Leroy has had an issue there and is off track. Helm also went in as well. Maybe is he just gaming the others a little bit there with a fake out possibly, going out on medium tyres, just trying to trigger everybody to do similarly. I'm trying to find the TFL driver who's just starting his lap, and there we go. It's Yagizan, who has been very quick for our championship. Webbo says hello. Senna says hello, Webbo, of course. Hello, my friend. And of course, the boss Lesty is watching and hopefully able to contribute to the stream and all the activity. So Yagizan then heading up the hill for the blind turn 4, leaving possibly a little margin on these new medium tyres. Trying to avoid those nasty curbs in the middle. And now it's the fast switchback middle sector of the track. Build the speed. Try to keep those apexes as much as possible. Slight hesitation on the throttle on the way out of turn 11 down into turn 12. Possible overtaking move if someone really messes up the second sector. But pretty much we're looking at turns 1 and 2. I have seen some great moves into these final 2 corners as well. Johnny Cifuentes says Contora LFR. So lots of support for the LFR team as usual, of course. Senna, yeah, here for his team. 1:15.924 is Yagizan's initial attempt, and let's see who else is setting a time. Leroy is going to continue after that off-track moment, a 16.271 on medium tyres likewise. What about, let's see who else we've got. Marty is in the wrong livery because he was heroically called up at the very last minute for IRT. So forgive him for a wrong livery. And there he goes with a 15.528 on soft tyres. and didn't need any warm-up. Marty with a great first lap. Hopefully he's going to get out of people's way on their hot laps. We've got some coming in already. There's Russell. Not exactly a hot lap. I'll say that's a lukewarm lap for Russell there at 33.936. I'm sure he's got more speed in the car to come. And Cheeman, I'll say Cheeman. Apologies, of course, if I get anybody's name wrong. And if you're part of that team, give me a phonetic description of how to pronounce their name. It's a 116.079 for Cheeman. Damiano for TFL goes faster still, and then beaten by Mika up there in pole, sitting at 14.659. Those soft tires really helping the guys just get the times out of the tires. Pedro will take no further part in this session and has crashed. I think no, that's Bumpier on the outside there of turn 3. Here comes Bolly. We like a nice easy name to read out. Luca Rata says, "Come on, QRT." So we've got plenty of Lucas enjoying the race today. Bolly then looking crisp through the first and second sectors so far. Medium tyres. Going very wide, but staying valid. Just a final corner to go. He's just got a slight distraction, but they've gone into the pits. That, I think, was Marty, the IRT driver in a yellow Icon car, or 16.166, kind of middle of the road for Bolly. And again, he'll be hoping for a little bit more speed out of the car. Lucas has invalidated this one. Davey for TFL, just finishing his lap here then. Very striking livery. And it's a 14.804 for Davey and TFL, who are bossing the first runs. Just Helm and Kart Racer spoiling the party slightly. Marty and Leroy doing well for IRT. Now, we'll have to, this is absolutely to see who is the best of the best, because we already found out who was the best of Group 1 and 2 in the semi-final rounds. So I've got Luca saying, Timon, I will try and remember Timon. Thank you very much for that. Timon. Store it in your head, Webbo. Well, is Kart Racer out on his second lap here? He is, possibly, or he's just cooling down the kart. No, this is a cool down lap, definitely. Okay. Has Lucas decided to start going for it on the second lap on these softs? We know there was an invalidation, but it's quite a short track here, so it's an option, especially if you want to bank up into turn 4. Always a hold your breath moment, turn 4, waiting to find the apex. You make a guess at the top of the hill. An educated guess, I guess. It is. Russell getting a little hot under the collar in the paddock chat here. Hopefully he can channel that energy. It is difficult. It's a obviously 20 car qualifying session. There's no respite for the drivers. There's no easing up of the traffic as you get through to different sessions. Just a single session qualifying. So traffic's going to be a huge issue, as well as track evolution. So balancing the risk of getting traffic on your final run is definitely going to be important. Mika's out doing another lap. Where does Lucas go on this lap? It's a 4th place. And alternating TFL and NFR drivers, Mika, Helm, Davey, Lucas, Damiano, Kart Racer, Marty, Leroy, Yagizan out there as well. And he's putting in another lap. And very unusual to see Yagizan bested by several teammates here. So I guess he's out there hoping to get the bragging rights. It's very important, of course, in team service to have the bragging rights per race. And a 14.824, this time on soft tyres. Looks like that's the way the grid's going, towards soft tyres here. So Yagizan making it into the 14.8s, but we do have a 14.6 on the board with Mika. NLR not showing too well at the moment. It's not hugely unusual. I don't want to be unkind to NLR, but they do tend to bring in the points on race on the race session. I was going to say race day. Of course, it's race day, but I've not seen Marijn Mellema on his lap just yet. I must just go up and have a look at Mika though and see while he's hot, while he's positive on the Delta. Boss says TFL looking strong so far. Luca is here to support his own team. That's QRT, I'm sure. Mika then approaching the first sector time. He's under his time, and that looked violent through turn 4. Wow, great stuff from Mika. Into 5 very smoothly. Now 6 and 7. Just trying to pick the straightest line possible through there. 8 comes at you really quickly, as do 9, 10, and 11. Just building that speed, just waiting for the grip. Big step out, going wide through turn 11. We saw someone hold on to a lap through there, but it didn't work for Mika. Perhaps just rejoined the track slightly too early. Helm, though, from second place, as Marijn Mellema goes fastest, 14.620. So nearly 4 hundredths of a second off the pace. Helm invalidating the exact same place we saw Mika. What about Davey next up to challenge this one? Davey is positive. So let's see if he can avoid that turn 11 invalidation out on the outside curb. Looking smooth. Looking like he's got the car underneath him. As Lesty said last week on our stream, these TFL boys don't mess about, and they're definitely right up there. And it's a pleasure to have such fast drivers with us tonight, all through the grid. 1/10 improvement for Davey as Leroy goes fastest to 14.304. That is huge, and a great new pole position time at 14.304 for Leroy. What about Davey? He was looking better than he was before. Will this be a jump up straight up to P2? I think that track is improving, a quarter of a second improvement overall for Davey. Great stuff from the TFL driver. And what about Damiano, who is next to challenge this one? Really, really good stuff. It's already with still nearly 6 minutes left before the checkered flag falls. Just maybe using that curb a little bit too aggressively. Bolly goes second on a 14.532. And I really do think now we got Timon, who's looking slow to my eye out of turn 1. I think he is on a cool down, yeah. Confirm that. What about Erpuk, who I've not seen racing for NLR before, and I've been relatively familiar with the NLR boys from time to time. You might catch me on a stream here and there. Erpuk then didn't set a time in the first runs. Got a slightly dodgy connection, so apologies if you're prone to any kind of motion sickness. Yeah, QRT and IRT fighting back against TFL here, as the boss says. And Luca tells us that Marijn has the joint fastest time in time trial. So, talking a good game. And just outside again, Erpuk, that really piles the pressure on for later. What about Frankis? He's he's doing a cool down, a 16.0 on medium tyres so far. His best time. Yagazan is out there and going quicker through sector 1. Let's ride with him then as he just navigates an LLR car off track. Quick upshift to just straighten the car up out of the chicane. Big lift through 11, but he stays positive. Yagazan on track to improve his qualifying session, but a big step on the outside curve of turn 11. Sorry, 12, and it's now just 13 and 14 left to go. Oh, no, that's it for Yagazan. That's the end of his session. Almost in two minds whether to pit or not, and the car just would not respond if it was heading to the pits, that it was his attempt. Wow. So dramatically will not start higher than ninth and could be a lot further back than that. Russell starts his next attack lap and definitely wants to get out of the traffic trouble that he's experienced in the first runs. Russell perhaps just running on 2 attempts this time. Soft tyres fitted. Just Frankis, Erpik and Purezige who have yet to set their times. Your eyes do not deceive you. Purezige is driving for QRT. I think, may have timed out on his ability to check his to change his PSN, but he's got the right livery on nonetheless. So Russell then, nothing dramatic so far. Big step out. The car really misbehaving on that curb, but he's nearly a second to the good on this lap. Will this see him much more comfortable? He'll certainly hope so. 15.0 will put him roughly P12, but he'll be looking for a much better result than that for the boys at NLR. Where's it going to be, though? It's P10, a big improvement in the final sector, and a P10 for Russell, and a much better place to start the race. Boumtje has invalidated, unfortunately, and now we have to wait for all our drivers who are in the pits. Or who have we got actually on track? Damiano, I think, is the first of the outlaps, is he? No. Kart Racer for NLR, currently 5th on a 14.624, is going for a big wide entry into the final corner, get the maximum throttle application possible. And here we go, down the hill towards that turn 1. And what an absolute nightmare for Kart Racer as he comes out of the, as several cars come out of the pits, including his teammate who could give him a little tow down into turn 2. Will hopefully get out of his way. We'll see him in his mirrors, or the engineer will be screaming at him shortly. Kart Racer will get an update on his dash very soon. Is he quicker? By the tiniest margin, 0.002 of a second, but everyone's all over the road. And frankly, Leroy could have done a lot better, but Kart Racer, you feel maybe making a point there. So he will not go faster than that, especially wiping out that front wing. He will not be happy either. But Damiano is on his lap, and he's a 10.5 faster than he's been before. I will get to the fastest drivers, but let's watch these guys while they're actually attacking the lap. Drama at the qualifying session here. Damiano within range of an improvement, but just outside of his fastest first sector, maybe keeping the tyres within him. Oh, that looks a little bit slow through there. I'd love to stay with him, but I have to go and see what Bolly's up to. Bolly starting his next lap. Marijn Mellema behind him on track, starting his next lap as well. Let's see if Bolly is positive as he goes up the hill. He is positive. What about Marijn behind him? Will we see an improvement through Sector 1 for Marijn? The track at its best. Peak performance now. It's not an improvement so far for Marijn. Bolly is through the second sector very nearly, and we'll get an update after the next corner. What has he been able to drag out of this car? An even better time, very much on course for pole here. This could be it for Bolly. Let's see as he heads down towards the penultimate corner, getting good grip still from these soft tyres. What's left in the car? Needs to avoid that pit wall, of course, and away, releasing the throttle, letting everything out of the car, and it's a P2, even better than before, but not quite there. Leroy is going quicker as well as he reaches the end of his final attempt. The checkered flag is down. This is it for everybody. Leroy, can he get even faster than a 14.304? Goes towards the line, and it's a 14.280. Yes, even faster for Leroy. It's Leroy, Bolly, Davey, Marijn. Sorry, Helm gets in fourth, just in the middle there. Damiano is quicker, but not by a lot. So it looks like it's going to be Leroy, Bolly, Davey, LFR, Helm driver, and then Marijn and Sieb. Your top 6 What about Damiano? A minor improvement, but not much. Timon gets his lap in, and Marty will be the last one. Will he? No, he won't be finishing this lap. Just remember that livery is not quite right for IRT, but wow. Um, Crazy stuff at the death there, and an absolute rainbow grid at the top six. Brilliant stuff. The only team not represented in the top six is NLR, but they are seventh, so we should have an absolute mixed bag for our race, and I really look forward to seeing this one. Hope you're all enjoying it so far. Um, do hit the like button on the video. You've got time now. Just exit the live chat for a moment. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and come on back to us. If you do have extra time, you can go ahead and follow the Crown E League and Webo Red 5 on Twitter as well. And you can find my races whenever I go live. Cross post on Twitter. But wow, Leroy taking pole by 1/10 of a second from Bolly, Davey and Halm, Marine, Sieb, Kart Racer, Mika, Damiano, Yagazan, Russell getting the pick of the strategy and the sort of next best consolation prize, I suppose, to start our race, which will be underway very shortly. Lucas, Timon, Erpik, Purazij, Marty, Boomyi, Frankis, Pablo and Pedro, your drivers' order for this 20-car field at the first round of the finals of the Crown E League. And so that means IRT on top, QRT second. I'll take you through the rest of the team positions. So I've gone through these, and I know you can read. So we've got IRT in first, sixth, and much further down at the moment, then followed by QRT in second and fifth and 13th. TFL representing on third, eighth, 9th, 10th. What a great midfield for TFL there. And near the back, then LFR's Helm is light years ahead of his teammates, all nearly at the back, outside the top 10. Marine representing QRT, and NLR, the highest position I think was 7th, and Russell starting 11th. So, as I say, hope you're enjoying this. Make sure you share the race on socials. I know Lesty is spamming the Twitter posts right now, drumming up interest and eyes on the product, and I hope you're enjoying it. Luca's happy with his team's performance for QRT there. Russell still very hot and bothered in the paddock. Apparently his PS4 didn't record his footage either, so like I say, hopefully he's got somebody with a fan nearby and just cooling him down a little bit. Russell, let's hope you can channel this energy and not drive like a hooligan, as you might be suggesting is the correct way to go about it. Try and bear with the fact that it's a high traffic, short circuit and very narrow, difficult to get out of everybody's way. But nonetheless, 20 cars will take the start of this race, and I hope we get as many of those as possible to the finish. There will be points for every finisher tonight, as well as 1 point already for IRT. So they take the lead in the championship already for pole, and a point for fastest lap, of course. So let's get our screen organized. So soft tyres for the top 10, of course. Mediums seemingly the choice of the day, but Purazij and Pablo gone for hard tyres. Marty in the middle of the rearmost 10 drivers has gone for softs, so look to him to jump forward. Potentially. Lucas has already picked up a DSQ for this one. I wonder if he was just away from the wheel as the session started. So Leroy with a spectacular pole from Bolly and Davey, and like I say, 4 different teams in the top 4 is exactly what we want to see. Hard to say really who's got the best of the qualifying positions. Really well spread out overall per team. tell me who you think is the best qualifying team out of that lot. I can't really make it out. I mean, I guess 4 cars in the top 10 for TFL, but none at the top positions. Difficult one. But we know it's only a single point for the top driver for Leroy. And as I say, it's a nice short track, but it means that we have 35 laps for you. I haven't seen a weather forecast, so it's a mystery to me. It's not super clear out there. It's slightly overcast, so I wonder if we're going to get some rain at all. Anyway, regardless, I hope you all enjoy this one. And like I say, help me out if you see something that I'm not talking about on screen. I appreciate the Twitter follow already from Luke Lira. Very kind. And for the prompt by Lesty as well. Interesting position for the NLR driver there on the grid. Apologies for the flicking. There we go. We're finally there with the 5 red lights. It's the first of the finals at the Hungary ring, and it's away we go. And Leroy looking a little bit tardy off the line. Davey already jumping volley, but it looks like in defense, Leroy's going to leave his outside open here, which of course becomes the inside to turn 2. A good turn in from Davey. Leroy driving him to the outside, but it's a challenge for the top positions right from the outset. TFR's Davey down the inside into turn 2, perhaps overspeed through the apex. Leroy fighting, and they touch again, and that is out, and that is spectacularly sideswiped. I think that's going to be subject to all kinds of problems. VSC, will we avoid a full-on safety car, because Davey was absolutely wiped out of that one. My first view of that was a sideswipe from Leroy after being dragged to the outside of the track. But tell me what your view on the situation was, especially if you're neutral in the fight. Helm up to second, Kart Racer up to third. What a start for him, and incredible stuff from the outset there. Leroy already got a point so far. 4 places up for Kart Racer, 7 for Pablo, and down 9 for Bolly, who really lost out trying to avoid that trouble. But incredible stuff. Scenes already with Davey wiped out from the start of the race. I don't think it was deliberate, but it could have been avoided. And we're about to possibly get ourselves back underway. Looks like the car has been moved, and we will wait for the green flag. Lots of crowding out. There we go. Green flag racing. We're underway with Marine very tightly tucked up behind both Helm and the NLR driver. Will we see another issue here going in? Helm tries to close out the QRT driver. It's not quite there. And again, more contact between the two. Helm down the inside, trying to defend this one. He's got the inside, he's got the corner. And in fact, up the inside comes Damiano. He's forced to the outside through turn 3. And they head up the hill again. Are we going to make it up to turn 4? Under green flag, yeah, completely wide goes Marine, avoiding contact. And perhaps that's better to live to fight another day. But TFL, up goes Damiano, Yagazan, and Mika in 4th, 5th, and 6th, with Marine back there. Sieb has made up progress. Russell has made up a couple of places for TFR, but it's Leroy from Kart Racer after 2 laps. And I just need to take a chill pill for a moment, because what a first couple of laps we've seen. So very tight in the midfield here. Mika, Yagazan, and Damiano just in each other's shadows almost as they go through the second sector now. The gap's opening slightly at the front. Leroy leads from Kart Racer and Helm, but this group, 4th, 5th, 6th, the TFL drivers, all moving up in unison, all gaining from Davies' issue, but now doubling down, really needing to fight together as a team, having lost their team leader in qualifying. But what a tight group we've got from 4th all the way down there to 11th place. Erpek getting past Pure Aziz, who has swapped out, I think, the soft tyres under the safety car. He's put hards on. Is he going to go the distance? He's already changed his tyres. Pure Aziz. Has he? No, Bolly's been in and changed tyres. Bolly's gone in. That's why he's dropped that distance. To the rest of the field, I thought Pure Aziz started on softs. But my bad. Must have been somebody else. Anyway, we're underway nonetheless. So, Kart Racer now closing in. Spent a lap just consolidating the grip on the soft tyres, bringing them up to temperature safely and avoiding trouble, frankly. But now he's 4/10 behind the leader. I don't see something spectacular happening between the TFL boys. I think they're going to continue as they are for now. But the race is young. Lap 3 has almost been finished by the leader, and we should get a DRS enablement shortly. Not yet. Strange. I guess we're waiting for the VSC period to end. Mika and Yagazan swapping over in the background, but Kart Racer getting a good run. It's a difficult job to do just on the brakes around the Hungary ring. Spent years watching Hungary ring races with no DRS. Davey is in shock in the paddock chat as well, you can imagine. So we go IRT, NLR, then LFR, and then a triplicate of TFL remaining cars in the race. Remember, 5 teams battling out for team points only, no driver points, just team points awarded. No driver prizes, I should say. I'm sure people will be collecting their points in their own chats, but this is a team battle. They can swap in and out drivers as to their track specialty, but it does look like Kart Racer really closing in, and as Lesty says, they're starting to build a gap to Helm, who is on the defensive and the first in a long train of drivers. Here is the DRS in operation for Kart Racer. Does he opt to go down into the braking zone or wait for the second burst of DRS he'll get out of the first corner? Can usually work out quite nicely. There we go. But it's a very short run down to turn 2, and no pass this time. But it looks like he's got some better grip coming out of turn 2, certainly. And the leaders there, not fully away from Helm, but starting to creep away. 1.6 seconds the gap from second to third, and then all the way down the field it is very tight until 16th and 17th places, where we've got a bigger gap after a pit stop. Try and focus on other drivers, of course, as things start to happen more and more through the field. But while we've got a battle for the lead, let's keep our eyes on that one. Kart Racer and Leroy. So lap 5 of 35, IRT on top of NLR, then LFR, and as I said before, 3, but only the remaining 3 TFL drivers left. Here comes Kart Racer then. Got some great overspeed here. Leroy's already defending to the inside, very Schumacher Barrichello-esque. And around the outside it goes Kart Racer. He will get DRS down into turn 2 as well. Great camera angle. Thank you to Codemasters for that one. And yeah, the corner belonging very much to Kart Racer. He gives a little room on the inside of turn 3. Whoa, that's very close to risking a puncture in a front wing. There goes for the lead then, Kart Racer against Leroy. I'm not quite sure how the stewards will view the work by Leroy. Lesty says, is that rain? Well, haven't seen it on the count. Yes, confirm, rain. Rain already on lap 6. Great spot from Lesty. If you're watching on PS5, you do tend to get slightly better rain warnings than on PS4, especially the rain and spray effects. But it is rain here on lap 6. Now, at what point do the drivers decide that they need to come in for inters? The track, it's not raining very heavily right now, so I think the right decision is staying out. But Leroy comes in, so he's going to test my theory there as Mika gets by Helm on the previous lap. Mika up to second. Leroy, the only pitter so far on the soft tyres, so everybody else thinking that the track has got a little bit of life left in it in the dry conditions for the tyre. We'll see, of course, what Leroy's time looks like relative to everybody else's. I'll keep an eye on when he rejoins his gap once he's back up to speed. But Kart Racer with a good 2.3 second gap allows him to just get a feel for the conditions and not be driving at 100% perhaps. But now Mika, the leader of this long train of cars. So Leroy has a 5 second gap to the cars in front, with the rain still not really falling very heavily on my camera at least. But yeah, it's difficult because Leroy's pace will be better than Pure Azige on fresher tyres and the fact that he is the pole sitter. But yeah, the rain looking a little worse maybe on board than it does off board, outboard. Stephen says Lesty's got his goggles out. Well, it wouldn't be difficult to have better eyesight than me. Let's be clear. Let's be honest on that one. A big battle going on. Helm defending from the next LFR driver here. Of course, it does look like DRS is still enabled for the drivers, so it's still a dry race in that respect. But Helm is vulnerable. He leaves the gap down the inside, but has Damiano outbraked himself. He has. He's now got Yagazan almost crowding Yagazan out in his own braking zone. That probably wouldn't be a super popular thing to do. Helm driving very sensibly and within himself, knows the limits of the car in these tyres and this condition right now. But you feel it's got to be a moment for Inters anytime soon. Yeah, Leroy has got past Pure Azige and his pace better than the cars around him. But is it better than the leaders that he left? Time will tell. In fact, of course, Leroy putting hards on, didn't go for Inters. So a brave choice, really, if you're changing at that point, especially if there will be intermediates used shortly. I do feel like the grip is starting to drop slightly. Damiano is struggling on these tyres. Will he pit for new ones? No, he does not. And I think Yagazan might be starting to get a little bit frustrated here, crying to Jeff maybe, or whoever the TFR race engineer is today. If you're engineering, do give us a shout out. Let us know what you can safely, strategically, of course. But yeah, let us know. As Yagazan comfortably gets by Damiano, who's now going to be watching his mirrors from Marine, who had great pace in quali, but so far, perhaps just trying to keep those soft tyres alive for as long as possible. Kart Racer still a 2.6 seconds up the road. Now Mika has opened up a similar gap to Helm, who is leading the rest of the TFL field. Yagazan and Damiano, Marine, followed by Russell, Timon, Erpuk, all in a line, and then a bit of a gap to Pedro, Boumier, Ocampo, Frankis, Leroy, and now Sieb, Pure Azige, Bolly, Lucas, Marty, and sadly we lost Davey. Yeah, we could do with some opinions on that first lap incident. Would love to see what you thought of it. I'm absolutely kicking myself for forgetting to press the replay button when that was all going down. So into the pits comes Damiano and Marine, and I think that is Helm ahead as well. So the rest of the drivers going through. Now I wonder, will Helm elect for intermediates here? It looks like dry conditions still. So drivers deciding, yeah, there we go, mediums and hards, a mixture for Helm, Damiano and Marine. Looks like Leroy already passed them in the pits, so that change has really helped if you're staying on dry tyres at this early stage. Softs looking done. We say, well, the front three are making it work so far, but Russell is catching. You're right. The front two are making these softs work still, but perhaps being flattered slightly by Yagazan holding up the rest of the field. I wonder if Yagazan ends up letting them through then. But you've got to wonder, are the soft runners just waiting, trying to see if the rain is going to intensify? Erpuk behind this group, struggling on connection slightly, I think. So, car just darting around slightly. And into the pits comes Yagazan now. So now we should see, and Mika in fact, so we should see the pace difference between Russell and Kart Racer up the road. Russell could do the favours to his teammate here and hold up the field maybe, but that would be to the detriment of his own race at this stage. Lap 11 already, wow. And they're really flying. 10 laps on the softs is a fairly long run here in the Hungary ring. But Kart Race is still out there, 6.5 seconds to the good against Russell. Make that 6.4. We'll watch that gap drop potentially, but not dramatically at this point. Leroy regaining some positions there that he gave up, of course. I should still be in a good position. Let's just check the gap to leader and where we expect Kart Racer to come out of the pits. Will it be clear of Leroy? I don't think so. I think that he's going to be very lucky to clear Leroy. So it's working out so far for Leroy, our pole sitter. So into the pits comes Kart Racer now. So there he goes in for his first pit stop. The medium runners from the start, of course, having that slight advantage. And down the order goes Kart Racer. Where will he rejoin? Will it be between Leroy and Mika or Mika and Helm? I don't think there's really much chance of a different change there. Timon is looking good against Russell here. Looking racy. Now, if that's Harley from Neverlast Racing joining us in the chat, does that mean Harley's race elsewhere has come to an abrupt end? I hope not. I was hoping he'd have a good race. But lap 12 in this one as NLR's Russell from QRT's Timon and then NLR's Erpic have the provisional podium positions, but of course they have yet to pit. Well, wide goes Russell. Timon screaming past. So Erpic as well, and Russell making a mistake there. You would say possibly an unforced error, but Timon was definitely piling the pressure on. So slipping back, but rescuing the car. Timon takes the lead, and we wait to see who pits first on the mediums. It'll be a couple of laps yet, I would imagine. Still, we just have a fine drizzle rather than any kind of issue. But the safety car is called. A safety car is called on lap 13. And what will the drivers elect to do here? We'll see who pits at this point, but we'll try and get an idea. I think it's Pure Aziz, yeah, who's DNF'd. It was the exit of turn 3, approach to turn 4 that the car was stationary. And unfortunately, a slight slip up there means we've lost one each from TFL and from QRT. So lap 13, our safety car, the foot of the field there, able to pit. Chief among them, Leroy, who has presumably going to put on medium tyres for the end of this race. So should be good. He'll need to run 22 laps on the medium to make that run work, so long as the rain does not intensify. But let's wait and see on this one. Timon with the track position at least, but fresh tyres for Damiano, Leroy, Bolli, and Ocampo. I wonder if Leroy was held up in the pits at all, because Damiano has leapfrogged him there as they come on out of the pits now as well. So those drivers who had put on mediums instead of hards, staying with them. The drivers who put on hards have decided to get rid of them. And what does Timon do here? Is it a pit stop for him? Of course it is. Absolutely. Same for Erpic. Same for Russell. The double stacking shouldn't be an issue here for our drivers racing on the custom cars. Boomyi, I think, will get the lead of this race as Frankis goes in for NLR as well. Kart Racer will be net second right now. And it's been a very dramatic run so far for this race. We're not even halfway through. Nice stuff for Harley giving us an update on his other race, and he's just tuning in between his sprint and his feature race. Well, good luck to Harley. If you watch this back, that won't do you any good because it will have already happened. Never mind. Yeah, that's right. Owner driver now of NLR is Harley. Not a job I fancy whatsoever. Quite happy in the comms box, not embarrassing myself too much under a steering wheel. Now, is this rain worsening? It is. It is. Definitely, you can see the splashes on the racetrack. And under the safety car, the water will be so much worse. Tires are going to cool. Russell's put softs on, anticipating this moment where anticipating the rain intensifying and making no attempt to reach the end of the race on those tires. Frankis has got hards on. The rest of the field on medium tires. But this is very, very interesting as the rain falls heavier under the safety car, meaning that the gamble of pitting now for Inters is going to guarantee you at the back of the field unless everybody does the same thing. Now, what does Boompy do? A race I was watching and commentating over yesterday saw somebody refuse the pit with the rest of the field under the safety car, and it did not work out for them because they just couldn't rescue their strategy afterwards. Boompy goes wide, isn't tempted to the pit lane so far, and neither are the rest of the drivers. They're not happy, but look at Erpik coming in. Erpik making that gamble, and I wonder if that is intermediate tyres headed for Erpik. He was in sort of fifth or sixth position when he made that choice. Perhaps the only one. Erpik choosing hard tyres though. Still not happy that it's ready for intermediates, but yeah, there we go. Intermediates going on for Erpik. That could work out. So look to Erpik, and in fact he was double stuck with an LFR car. Such is the random allocation. There it was Lucas or Pablo in the pits, and some intermediate tyres going on. Now there's a big risk, but of course in terms of race distance to leader, he's got a great advantage and can get straight back up behind the safety car. Boompy will lead us away though from the safety car whenever that happens to be. Depends on Bernd Mailander's mood and the field spread at any given time. Please make sure that you've liked the video today. How are we doing, Lesty, on likes versus live viewers? I can't imagine why anyone would not like today's race so far. So if you're watching with us live or you're watching with us back and you haven't liked the video yet, please do. And when we reach a respectable number, I'll stop asking you. So we approach half distance. Absolutely, yeah, fully agree with that sentiment from the boss. So, Boompy still warming these tyres. The lights are still on the safety car, sadly. I think it's that standout driver for LFR at the back of the field who's just too far back. Nobody else going in for Inters, even those right at the back of the field. Maybe one here. It's Damiano, yeah, and Leroy as well has decided to pit. So he's not happy on the tyres. So Leroy and Damiano, some of the faster drivers now, opting for the intermediate tyres. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch Erpik at the start of this one. I'm actually tempted to watch from his perspective rather than at the lead. It's not always you get great racing from the lead, but I'll perhaps trundle my way down the grid as they go through turn one to try and arrive at the first intermediate runner. So the intermediate runners are led by Erpik, then Lucas, Pablo, Damiano, and Leroy. Sadly, we lost Pure Aziz and Davey earlier on. So let's have a look at people's position change while we hopefully just have the one more. Boompy, 16 place climb. That's pretty astonishing. And with track position over everybody else, has a good shot at driver of the day here at very least, if not a podium. Timon up 9, Pedro up 10, and Frankis up 7, your highlights. Leroy, one of your lowlights so far for perhaps a number of reasons, shall we say politically, but down in 18th at the moment. Is that karma? Maybe, maybe not. Bolly's down 11 as well, so it really didn't do our leaders any favour in qualifying because firstly the accident at the start and secondly the safety car ruining everybody's strategy in race. But we are going to get underway very shortly. Boompy will now take control of the race and hopefully just make one clear launch away from the grid. These tyres are going to be cold, they're going to be wet, and they are going to be very, very difficult to manage for all the dry tyre runners. Boomye will be choosing his moment as carefully as possible as Timon opts to go in the pits. Now, does that count as an overtake, or do they really know what they're doing? Marine going in as well. So the field changing as we speak. Oh, wow. Yeah, Mika caught out, almost going sideways through the final corner and giving an advantage to kart racer as we go 3 wide down the start-finish straight. It's Yagazan getting the move done, and Pedro trying to follow through. Lots of people pitting. Erpic has already got so much grip coming out of turn 2. Look at that, just driving away from the field. And through he goes, past his teammate, who presumably is going to be pretty kind to him. And racing up the hill now towards turn 4. Erpic's just got to be patient because of this incredible grip he's got. Will he just go straight around the outside of the rest of the drivers? He's got so much more grip on the inside of turn 5, but now he's just going to have to follow the other cars through this twisty section of the track. Twistiest section of the track. It's all twisty, Hungaroring, frankly. But yeah, away they go. Kart racer in the lead. Boomye has dropped back to P3. Yagazan up to P2, and Mika now right behind him as Erpic's progress slightly stalled, and it's very much a difference between who got the better tyre warm-up job done. What are the leaders going to be feeling on these tyres? We'll join Kart Racer and Yagizan and see if they decide that they can't race in these conditions. They can. They go for it, but Boomye and Mika going for the pit stop now. So I think we're only going to have 3 dry runners at the front of this field left remaining, as Erpic promoted to 4th, making that first decision to go on the intermediate tyres. Erpic now hounding the back of Pedro for a potential podium position. No penalties awarded to any of the drivers so far, and if anything, that gives you an indication of the quality of the field that we're representing tonight. No penalties to pay right now as we go through, and that is a commentator's dream, I have to tell you. So the drivers now catching up. These are the group that went first, and off goes Lucas into the scenery. Off goes Pedro into the scenery. Can't manage the medium tyres. Erpic has now got a 4.4 second gap to the top 2. And wave green flag as the car, I think, is back under racing conditions. It looks like Pedro's managed to get himself back racing, but has lost out to Timon, to Helm. And he's just going to be queuing up behind him now. So a split decision as to the timing of the change to intermediates. I'm still really curious as to what the front 2 are deciding to do here. They've still got a nice gap. They're going to go on past the line until they see the drivers behind them. I think that they're going to carry on those medium tyres. But Erpic with good grip and a nice gap behind him. It's Damiano and Lucas who are looking most likely of the leading group to exchange positions, but without the DRS, this is going to be a very difficult job indeed, unless you can force an error from the car in front. So kart racer Yagazan yet to pit, but Erpic, Lucas, Damiano, Leroy back up to P6 now, and Timon, Helm making your top 8. Marine, Mellema, and Russell following closely behind. Let's see if those guys are able to action a change of position as they head down towards turn 2. Incredible how far the field has spread already after that first restart lap. You can see who made the decision to pit and who didn't at a crucial moment. Luke Lira's hands raised in disbelief at the race so far, I think. But kart racer still in charge of this one. Erpic catching the driver's hand over fist now. 3.4 seconds his gap up ahead, and surely that's every indication that they need, that the track is too wet to operate the dry tyres competitively at least. So they'll be able to see Erpic starting to creep towards them in the mirrors. The race engineers will be screaming, okay, it's now to pit, and in comes kart racer, just as I say. And I think Yagazan goes on past really surprising for me there. Yagazan deciding another lap on the softs can be done, but he will end up further back in the field. Of course, the longer he waits, or the trouble he has breaking down into the first corner. Compare that with Erpik's confidence under the car. And yeah, Yagazan really holding out that little bit too long, but he's trying to open the biggest gap possible and praying for a caution period when he's near the pits, maybe. So, Yagazan out there still on used medium tyres as new inters are on the rest of the track. It's officially a wet race. DRS has been disabled officially. So, a 3-second gap for Erpik, who is proving to be a somewhat surprising rainmaster so far here on lap 20 at least. Looking very, very smooth and under control. You can see Yagazan struggling. Erpik just needs to not be too impatient with the gap he's got. The first penalties now on the board for Marty and Pablo. There, 3 seconds, I think, apiece. Little lock up on the fronts. Maybe needs to wind the brake bias backwards slightly for Erpik. You want the fronts to be gripping for you, of course, as soon as possible. In comes Yagazan. And yeah, maybe a lap too late. We'll see where he comes out relative to Kart Racer, who he was with. Kart Racer in 8th now, and it's Erpik with the lead from, I think, very shortly to be Lucas LFR, and then Damiano in the TFL car. First, you have to finish, it says on Damiano's car. Maybe a good reminder to have directly in front of your eyes at all times. Leroy getting back up the grid here, back up to P4 now, having a good run so far. So, Bolly just dropping back as Yagazan comes out of the pits, a place behind, 2 places behind Kart Racer, and Marine and Yagazan, sorry, Bolly and Yagazan fighting. Wow, look at this one as they come through turn 2. This could be another issue for that turn 4 barrier. No, we've just about got by, but up the inside comes Russell with a little bit of a touch, wheel-to-wheel touch there. And Bolly trying to hold on, can't quite get there. Russell is trying to get past, but can't make it. And up the inside, oh wow, into turn 8 comes Mika, but can't get the job done. Erpik stretching his lead now to 4.3 seconds, and Lucas in second place will be concerned that he sees Damiano closing. Yellow flag in sector 3. Let's hope that's not too dramatic, as Frankis gets a penalty for the NLR team there. Overall, lap 22. The rain continues to fall. We've got contact at the back. We've got a massive queue forming, and that absolutely helped with Sieb getting on by, I think, was it Boomty getting by everybody in that melee of an issue? Didn't quite catch it. Looked like it was Bolly making contact with another car, and Boomty picked the right direction and picked the right moment where the car ghosted for him perfectly. Well, Damiano just up in P3 chases down Lucas, and we have NLR, LFR, TFL, and IRT all in order on the racetrack at the lead, which is very nice to see. I like to see a good mix of drivers. Don't want to see one team get away with it. I'm sure everyone in the chat does want to see one team get away with it, but they won't agree which one. So Damiano very close now, piling on the pressure as Bolly picks up a penalty. And with the bad conditions, that is definitely affecting our drivers' grip levels and confidence levels against the track limits. But Damiano, surely it's a matter of time how he gets by Lucas up ahead. I'm not using telemetry to not give away too much of a strategic advantage. Snipe says, why does he want to dive there? It was an interesting move there. I presume you mean the penultimate corner issue where Bolly and the other driver had an issue. But there you see the problem with the Hungary ring is just those straights too short, and the turns are too wide radius. Frankly, they could do so much to improve improve the racing here, but obviously very little appetite to mess around with one of the classics as it is now. So our second, third, and fourth drivers are in a group of their own, but Erpik is well out there and bossing the conditions so far. Is he taking too much out of the inters, or is he managing to do this while preserving some tyres as well? Time will tell. It's lap 23 with 12 complete laps to run. Got a field spread of almost a full lap now, but several groups of drivers and the tail runners absolutely line astern at this point. You'll forgive me focusing on the big points on offer here, the big points playing paces, but there are points for everyone who finishes the race today, including, of course, the fastest lap, which probably won't get improved from now, will it? Kart Racer it is with an 18.0 fastest lap. So Kart Racer for NLR, possibly hanging on to that one to the end of the race unless we get a dramatic drying condition. Erpik, Lucas, Damiano, your podium so far. Leroy in fourth, perhaps with the shadow of a report from Davey coming to him later in the race, later in the week, I should say. Kart Racer and Yagazan are arguing over P8 and 9. Kart Racer to the good so far. And then you've got QRT cars 6th and 7th, Timon and Marine. Anybody your particular highlight as we watch Mika and Boomyi argue over who gets this position? Mika showing how to navigate that exit of turn 3 comfortably, and into turn 5 they go. And yeah, Mika hanging on and just welcoming Russell to come and have a go at the back of Boomyi at the same time. Yeah, no team looking dominant, says Lesty, and he's absolutely on the money there. The only team, I guess, Helm and Lucas for LFR looking pretty good right now, but there's a lot of running left to go. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, but is that just someone in the pits? Possibly. Or is there an actual accident down there? Looks like Pablo has gone. It looks like that's an issue against the pit wall, is it? I can't quite see, unfortunately. Looks like the car has been cleared now from the racetrack, so maybe a pit lane retirement might have been the issue, bringing up a short-range yellow flag. Nothing too dramatic. Look at the top 3 there, absolutely being distanced by Erpik, who is away now, nearly 7 seconds to the good after a safety car in recent laps, making the first brave decision for intermediates. Everyone followed him at differing distances towards the safety car, but he's doing a great job out there so far. And again, nothing too dramatic happening at the front of the field. So let's go and watch some of the other drivers as Kart Racer has zoomed up to the back of Marine here, and looks like NLR have been doing their wet weather training. P8 so far, as well as P12, 14th, and of course the lead of this race. So Kart Racer just exploring the wet line. I don't know if the wet line really does work on the game, whether that's really programmed properly, because usually you can, if you stay off the dry line, you can often find more grip where there is less rubber down. So Kart Racer to the outside is given that side of the racetrack from Marine. Kart Racer then look to see Marine appear on his right. Can't quite see it, but he's just about got ahead. So cautiously did it, but he's got ahead there into 7th place. And his next target is some 3.6 seconds up the road. It's another QRT car of Timon this time. And Marine now vulnerable behind to Yagazan. I think the better car condition and grip and pace so far is with Kart Racer. Frankly, at this stage, he made that look not easy. It was hard work, but it was decisive, and he got it done over a couple of corners. So Jagazan will be perhaps next to have a go. Damiano possibly closing a little on the back of Lucas up at the front here, but not quite close enough to make a move. In these conditions, you probably need to be within 4/10 to start having a go on the brakes after the straight. Just an estimate. If you disagree, let me know. Jagazan starts this one 7/10 away from Marine. The slipstream isn't a great effect. You can see Marine derating down the straight as well. And there, yeah, you see Kart Race after one lap putting a 1.6-second gap on Marine and starting to catch by a second time and up ahead. So Kart Racer's overall pace coming through, but is there enough of the race left for him to get himself the big points that he'll be hoping for after the qualifying performance he put in? The highest of the top qualifiers is currently running fourth. That's Leroy. As I mentioned before, Bolly and Davey having much worse runs through this race. What's Russell up to down there behind Boomye? Not quite making headway just yet, but very close. Similarly, Marty for the IRT team, tight up behind Frankis. Very competitive field up and down the order. And long may that continue in this, the first of the finals. Final 4 races. We've got a break week next week, and then set your reminders and calendars for the following 3 weeks, finishing on the 16th of February, where we will crown literally a champion of this league. Let's go back to our leaders then, as Damiano coming through turn 2, still around that 6/7/10 gap to Lucas. Perhaps Lucas just driving at his own pace here at this point. Need to preserve some tyre life in those inters for the end of the race. They do run and run and run, but you don't want to get too close to overheating them. The rain has never really gotten torrential, so I don't think anybody's tempted to change the inters. Dry line will develop, driest line will develop as the inters tread depth starts to wear off as well. So track should be at its driest after the rain when the inters are at their baldest. So it sort of works its way out that way nicely to give fairly predictable levels of grip for the drivers. It's only when they step offline that there'll be an issue. Erpek now 7.3 seconds, and I wonder if he's just decided not to keep pushing too hard and peg the gap at 7 seconds. Jagazan now up behind Marine. Can't quite get by as quickly as Kart Racer did a few laps ago. And it might be Kart Racer next, up behind Marine's teammate Timon. Leroy with a penalty is potentially important, although he has got a sufficient gap from the car behind Helm to defend against that penalty. But the first of our lead runners to pick up a penalty tonight, and that can change the game for everybody getting a penalty. So Leroy is close up behind Damiano, but needs now to get by him quickly and start putting the gap on and pay for that penalty. If he's to try and rescue a podium out of that pole position. A provisional podium maybe for Leroy. We shall see. Bolly picks up a penalty. So we're filling up the grid of penalties so far. Let's have a quick spy on the penalties. 3 seconds each for everybody, apart from Bolly, who has 2 of those. And that's no mean feat by anyone's standards to get through this race with so few penalties in total time count. Here comes Leroy. Looks like he's got a good slipstream and a good launch out of the final corner. Has he saved a little bit of ERS as well? Tries to put Damiano off his line, but Damiano's having none of it. He knows he's too far back, and if you defend fresh air, you end up under attack the following corner. So that's Damiano driving a smart race so far. What about Kart Racer? I think he might be on his way to try and get this 6th place from Timon. That might be as far as he can get with 5 laps to go now. Anything can happen, remember, as the tyres wear out and drivers' focus starts to drop. It's been a long, long race, and the drivers can very easily start to fade. Erpek leads from Lucas and Damiano now 8 seconds. Erpek's lead, so he hasn't quite finished stretching that gap. Kart Racer closing to within 6/10 here. What about Yagzan? Yagzan is somewhere on the track. We're not watching him for some reason. There we go. Getting close to Marine. No cigar just yet for Yagzan. Perhaps it's this time though for Kart Racer. We're looking for a good exit out of the final corner here. Of course, the rain light's on, somewhat betraying our ability to know when a car is derating. So I may have made a mistake earlier on that front. But Kart Racer following the car in front as he weaves down the pit straight to break the toe. You get a better exit out of turn 1. It's just not enough. It's so difficult to stay with the car in front through turns 11, 12, 13 and 14 and then be within range down into turn 1. But they know what they're doing, and I'm sure he'll have a go if he gets the merest sniff. He won't want to finish 7th, Kart Racer, after qualifying so well, but may have to settle for that at this point, with Timon knowing exactly when to use the ERS in defence. Erpek's lead, 9.6 seconds now, as Damiano really starting to get impatient behind Lucas, because perhaps Leroy's doing the same on him. So no one fighting with DRS here. This all has to be done with ERS and brakes. A little bit of tyre preservation perhaps. So a slower launch off the final corner for Damiano than Leroy and Lucas ahead could mean he's vulnerable. Leroy getting close, testing out his late braking performance versus Damiano. It's not quite there, as Erpek makes it an even 10 seconds, his gap. Astonishing stuff from this field of drivers to see Erpek that far up and qualifying fairly poorly. I'm sure even he would admit that, but making a very good call and obviously having tremendous race pace on these intermediate tyres. Up 32 now of 35. You feel something's about to happen here. As Helm is starting to close into the back of this group, who are slowing each other down. Lucas's pace is just not there with Erpek at all, but Damiano perhaps might have the ability to go slightly faster. We have a yellow flag out there at the tail of the field. Looks like Bolly has made an error coming out of turn 3, and he's out in the barriers. I think he's moving. Is he? Let's have a look. Yeah, he's just about getting back under his own steam. So Bolly, one of the top qualifiers, down in plumb last position right now. Erpek has no such worries, but like I say, anything can happen at this late stage of the race, as drivers constantly on a journey of discovery in terms of grip around this racetrack. I think the rain's worsening. That's my gut feeling here. Can you confirm or deny if you're watching along? Maybe Lesty will have a good view as any, who's also spectating the race. But it looks to me like the rain getting slightly worse and a sting in the tail on this Hungarian Grand Prix. Here comes Leroy. Less than 2/10 here, but there's no way by through turn 4 really. Not if you want to stay on track anyway. Heading down into the chicane. Just trying and waiting and hoping that the rival in front is going to make a mistake. What about Kart Racer and Timon? As Kart Racer still locking those fronts. Look, Bolly has retired from the session in the pits. Obviously got some damage, doing the honourable and right thing. But why not finish the race? Even if you're last, you're still going to get points for 16th. Maybe his team might want to have a word there, because that means they get 2 DNFs, and the only team with 2 DNFs in the race so far. Kart Racer's got great braking power. If you can just get close enough to the group, to the car in front on the way into turn 1 or 2, he'll have a go. And here come the cars out of turn 15, battling for the podium here. Remember, Leroy with that 3-second penalty as they close out this race. Leroy very late on the brakes. Damiano's connection looking a little bit spotty there. And so Leroy not able to really run super close. But Damiano taking up the middle of the track, as he has every right to do. So Lesty saying, in his view, the rain looks steady. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's marginal anyway. But Erpek, 11.5 seconds with 2 laps to go. His lead. He's the only one really who can ruin this one. Any favourite nominations for Driver of the Day? I've been asked. You'll know from my streams, I don't like to give the Driver of the Day to the winner, because I feel like they've got all the glory already. So my favourite, if I can't do that against my own rules, my favourite would have to be Lucas, for driving a great defensive latter half of this race and making almost as good a decision as Erpek, and driving almost as well with a very different skill set. But I'd probably have to go with our second place Lucas with a 10-place gain so far. Let's hope he can hold on and prove me right, and not suffer a suffer a commentator curse. But so far, with all but the final lap done, that's my opinion anyway. 3-second penalty picked up at the death of this one by Marty. But we're on the final lap, and if anything's going to happen with these three, it has to happen now. Just don't know if they're going to go for it or not. Leroy really can't afford to go for it here, or it won't really profit him, I should say, with the 3-second penalty. He's going to drop behind Helm here, and everyone he overtook on track if he does in the lead positions. But Kart Racer couldn't get the job done on Timon either. So into the section of the track where passing is going to be nigh on impossible unless someone makes a spectacular mistake. Go the second, third, fourth, and fifth drivers here. Yeah, I do think if they can survive turn 12, it will be all she wrote for this one. So through these final few twists and turns, as it looks like Erpek is so far up the road, I'm going to have to join him shortly unless anyone makes a move here. No, they don't. Erpek with an absolutely masterful drive. Erpek wins in Hungary 13.5 seconds faster than anybody else on the track. NLR on top with a win in the first of our final heats. Lucas will come round and get the second place for a Driver of the Day performance, in my opinion, from Damiano and Helm. Leroy, not for the first time, going pretty wide and and making contact with something anyway. And Leroy then in fifth place. Let's put a little asterisk next to Leroy's name. Timon picking up sixth place, and Kart Racer couldn't get him, but getting a first and a seventh for NLR. Then Marine, Melema, Yagizan and Mika making out your top 10. But remember, points all the way down to every finisher. So that will be points for Boomyi, Russell, Sieb, Frankis, Marty back there, and Pedro will be the final finisher on this. A very difficult race for all of our drivers, and they've shown absolute expertise when it comes to handling these cars. What a great race we've had on our hands. More to come, I know, from these finals, but so far Erpek takes a win, and I'm sure I'd be hoping for additional points for every second you win by, but such is motorsport. It doesn't matter how far in front you win, apart from those all-important bragging rights. But Erpek with a glorious win, frankly. That was brilliant performance. And NLR will be very proud of their driver taking that. I think possibly LFR will be getting the bulk of the points tonight. Very difficult for me to do those maths straight off the bat, but a great performance nonetheless. So our Italian NLR driver Erpek with a brilliant performance to win by 13.5 seconds from Lucas for LFR, from Damiano for the TFL team. So LFR with second and fourth. Now there with Helm racing over from Brazil. Leroy, the Irish IRT driver, got pole, but only brought the car home in fifth, unfortunately. Timon, 13th up to sixth, is a good performance for QRT. Kart racer and Marine. Yagazan racing from Turkey for TFL. Then Mika, Boomty, Russell, C, Frankis, Marty, Pedro, Bolly. And we lost Pablo Purazij. And of course, dramatically at the start there, Davey. And that will be subject to a report. And I wonder if that will reach the socials this week if a decision is made as a result of that one. Please make sure that you've subscribed the video before you disappear on us. My last request for a like on the video and a subscription, of course, a follow on Twitter for the Crown E League and Webbo Red 5 if you're interested in commentary services. Hopefully I'll be with you again for some more races in the rest of this championship, but that was a great one and I hope you enjoyed yourselves. This was the Crown E League first of the 4 final races in this fantastic team esports event. We will see you all in 2 weeks time, but for me, Webbo, we will catch you on the next race day.